So yeah, um, right. So wait, I heard a bell. Oh, that was the bell from the recording. Okay. So yeah, again, try to get on as close to 10 as you can on Thursday, and once you begin, you'll have 90 minutes, and it's set up. So again, it's 20 multiple choice, and then there will be three essays, of which only write two of them. And those essays will be worth 20 points each. But as we saw last time, the way the grading works is a little bit wonky. So just bear with that. It'll take me a minute to get the final actual proper grade out once you do that. But again, Thursday 10 a.m. Okay, let's look at what you guys have been doing. All right, so here's the exam review. Let me start with chapter 13, right? So again, remember, we covered some institutions. We wrapped up the last sort of, well, we kind of were mid-unit with institutions before the second midterm. So we talked about politics and governance then, and then we moved on to family ed and urban issues. And so with the family, okay, we've got a PDF, cool. Wide range of family, changing. Yeah, and definitely, yeah, keep track of these trends, right? So a rise in cohabitation, the rise in divorce. But again, remember that that's kind of more or less leveled out now. And again, you can always review the slides, or those are all on Moodle now, so you can see some of those pictures. Cohabitation, yes. IVF, good, important. Conservative versus liberal views, right? And yeah, sort of, we always sometimes say liberals are a libertarian almost. I will say I de-emphasize this radical left stuff. So that certainly doesn't hurt to know, but I won't ask questions, or try not to ask questions about the radical left, because I don't think it's a useful construction, especially because the book doesn't balance it with any idea of what the radical right is. So these things, the left and right, are on a bit of a continuum, but it's with marriage especially, it's useful to note, or family issues, useful to note that liberals are sort of socially libertarian almost. So so they're not pushing one kind of marriage. That's good. And yeah, conservatives really, yeah, it's the most important institution, and they really kind of view traditional families, right? So that's where that's coming from. Different kinds of families, good. Oh, here's more on trends, nice. And single parenting, good. Higher risk of poverty, yeah, that's especially important. Remember the connection there to the feminization of poverty. Right. The problem of divorce, good. Reduces support. Child support, good. People get remarried. People have lots of kids. Well, people should note somewhere in here, birth rates are declining. Right. That comes up though again in the population chapter. But birth rates in general are declining, but at the same time, people who can afford it are using reproductive therapy or reproductive technologies to have babies. Okay, what is the sociological perspective? Essay question here. What's the sociological perspective to families, on families? And right, okay, yeah. So exploring how patterns of family life are related to income, education, gender, race, right? And so you might think about how a question might frame it kind of around that too. It's like what are the relationships of the family to income, gender, race, etc. So good stuff there. Okay, moving to chapter 14 from Natalie here. Okay, education, right? So we're very illiterate. Yeah, good. Keep attack. Yeah, keep some sense. You know, and I'm not gonna ask you ever like, you know, what is the exact percentage of Americans who graduate from high school, something like that. But you know, something along the lines of, you know, what are the trends there? You know, more people are graduating from college, from high school. You know, and have some rough sense. You know, like you know, a third or so of people go to college. Problems of dropping out, gender inequalities in school. Yeah, have an understanding of Title IX for sure. Okay, yes, women have passed men in secondary education. There is violence in schools. Good key ideas here, right? Tracking, yes, definitely remember what tracking is, right? Students who are assessed to have different skills get into those different educational programs, and right, and remember that tracking and self-fulfilling prophecy, these are linked to one another. So yeah, mainstreaming, special ed, hidden curriculum, right? These different, remember that these three concepts here, charter school, magnet school, school vouchers, are all under the rubric of school choice, right? And there's a school choice movement in this country. This should be cultural capital, not capitalism. Might want to go back and edit that down. Cultural capital, right? So well-to-do people teach. Yeah. So having better off parents means that your kids are more ready for school, or even if not ready for school, that teachers look more kindly upon those kids who grow up in well-to-do families because of really cultural things. Those kids have been to museums, those kids read more books, etc., etc. Problems of global schooling, good. Problems of U.S. underperformance relative to other countries. Again, though, remember that there's a lot of educational inequality in America, even, right? So we do have plenty of great students like yourselves, but plenty of mediocre students, or yeah, just bad students. Right. Oh, so here's the tracking self-fulfilling prophecy again. Good. Yeah. Low. Yes. People have been talking a lot about the low pay of teachers now that they're homeschooling their children. They're thinking, oh, maybe we should pay a little bit more for that. Good. And identify a problem in the educational system. I like that. Yes, right. So from a liberal and a conservative perspective, what is the problem and solutions for the problem? Good. I don't see politics in here. So remember, you know, there are lots of politics around education, you know, and certainly a big part of that is with the school choice debate, right? So that tends to be more supported by conservatives. Okay, what chapter 15 now? Chapter 15. So urban. Right. Okay. And we got.
No, it's the second one. I thought we were supposed to come back at 11 o'clock, so I went on to do the political views. Also.
Oh, okay. I added some more to it. All right. Great. Okay. Yeah. Honestly, I probably won't get too deep into any dates with you guys. You know, that's more for history classes, but certainly, you know, have that general sense, right, that the U.S. has become industrialized and urbanized, kind of at the same, you know, along the same trajectory, and getting away from farming. Yeah, and this you know, this dynamic here of people moving to the suburbs after the baby boom. definitely, again, the dates don't matter too much, but the trends matter a lot, right? This idea that people move to suburbs, and we have this whole issue of sprawl and the megalopolis now, since people don't just live in central cities anymore, right? And right, so the 53% of the entire country's population were suburbanized, right? So we're a majority suburban population, really. Urban problems, right? So the 70s bankruptcies, right? We also call these, right, fiscal crisis. Good, you got that there. Richer and better educated people move out of the cities, right? So again, that's the problem kind of around suburbanization and sprawl. Good low density development, right, means you have a lot of cars driving around. So yep, good, right? And then congestion, pollution, all those issues. Housing, clearly, do you get eviction in here somewhere? Yep, good, right? Eviction's definitely important. Poverty, yeah, clearly, right? So there's, and again, I would stress a few things about the spatial dimension of poverty. Right, these people who are left behind in inner cities, living in poverty, but also, now we're getting some of these, right, as they say here, some of these suburbs, as they're getting older, are really, very poor suburbs, so the trend kind of towards like Ferguson, Missouri, that kind of thing. Kind of hold off on the serious stuff, but this looks good here. All right, conflict, urban political economy, good, and right, the political side here. Yeah, and specifically, right, this is good to focus on, like, so conservatives supporting things. The enterprise zone would be a there's a link there, that's kind of cool. Free market solutions for urban problems, definitely, knowing that specifically about cities. But more generally, and of course, like liberals say, throw money at the city. But again, remember, more generally, there is just that rural-urban divide in American politics. So conservatives tend to be either suburban or rural. Liberals tend to be, and people in cities tend to be much more liberal, and so that really has a lot to do with how things are funded, right? And we know that in general, rural states tend to see a net tax benefit, whereas urban states tend to pay taxes out, and that has a lot to do with those red-blue dynamics. Okay, let's try. We're running short on time, so we'll try to quickly look at chapter 16 here, right? Population and global inequality, right? Definitely, have your demographic transition theory down. Just understand that we've moved, from sort of explosive population growth in stage 2 to higher, to lower population growth in stages 3 and 4. And that, over time, we do expect, sort of a leveling, a flattening of the curve, if you will, of population growth. Skip that. Pure demographic stuff should be pretty straightforward. Yeah, and then the global inequality and really, global poverty, slavery. But yeah, I'm skipping ahead here to the modernization theory, right? So definitely have some focus on that, some focus on this idea that that there are different ways that people think of the global north as exploiting the global south, such as this, right, the social conflict theory, as opposed to that modernization theory. You'll recall if that little video that we watched, the guy who says like, maybe sweatshops, not such a bad thing, right? And that's of course a part of the political dimension there as well, right? So conservatives tend to be more for free markets, free trade, that kind of thing. Although our current political environment is changing that to some extent. But anyway, and then tech and the environment, I think generally you agree kids are pretty good about this environment stuff, but if you haven't really caught up on this yet, definitely have a sense about it. Remember, kind of really what I like in this for remembering the relationship of environment to technology is, I don't see it in here. It's implicit kind of, right? So population and technology, affect the, how much we damage the environment. You remember there's an equation, I equals PAT, IPAT, that kind of sums that all up. But yeah, these are all quite good. Sorry to get to look at the theory ones, but I'm sure there's good stuff here. And again, feel free to keep adding at these, look at these, comment on them. If you have questions for me, certainly just shoot me an email and I'll try to get back to you soon. But other than that, exam is on Thursday, and do it at 10, right? So log on as close to 10 as you can. It opens up at 10, and you'll have 90 minutes to complete it. Okay, so that's all for today. I should say, it's been a pleasure working with you all. You've been a really fun class. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten to see you in person for the last few weeks, but hope to see many of you in the fall or at the weird graduation in December. Okay, so on.
Thank you.
So, Professor, is this our last meeting?
This is. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Professor.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Could I contact you about deciding between like pass fail and understanding where I am in the course, and then